Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in to 100.9 on your FM dial, KWTN, the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska. This is the Big Voice Radio, and this is also the Big Voice Sports Talk Show. I am your host, Coach Q, along here with my partner here, Coach Eug.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, tonight we are celebrating episode 19 here on April 19th. And so, but before we go anywhere, April 19th is a special day for me. So I just want to give a birthday shout out to the man who started me off in this whole coaching thing and this whole sports thing. Around the way, they call him Pops. They call him GB1. And myself, I call him Dad. So I want to give a 70th birthday shout out to my dad, Greg Bass Sr.
Happy birthday.
Go. Yeah, we been kind of anticipating this day for a while. Turning the big 7-0 is kind of huge around here, especially for our whole chunk men. So congratulations to Pops. Say happy birthday to you, and thank you for all the teachings along the way. This sports thing really picked up for myself and my brothers and sisters, and then we get to share all this stuff with the young ones. So, Pina Gigiwi, Pops. And so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by one of the most dynamic athletes that come out of Winnebago, Nebraska here. A guy who's really making some noise and putting his name out there, getting his name out there into the mainstream media. Our very own senior of Winnebago, Diami Berg. Say hello, Diami.
Yo, what's good?
So Diami been on a tear lately out there on that big old circle that we call track, in track and field here in Winnebago. Got to see him run a couple times. I went to go watch the Bago Indians in action up in Homer one time, and then down in Lyons, I believe it was. And in both the track meets, I got to see Mr. Barrett here dominate his competition, bringing back a lot of good hardware to the school. So congratulations first on that, Dami.
Thank you.
And then, so tonight, we're also joined by one of Winnebago's the all-time winningest coach here in Winnebago basketball history, Coach Jeff Barrett.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Coach Jeff was asked to come along so we can have a real in-depth conversation with his son, Diami, and also to hear his views on his son and the things that he's going to be doing here in the next few years. So first of all, I say welcome to you guys. And I know that myself and Coach Eug, we don't really put people on the spot, but we like to ask a lot of questions, a lot of questions that we have and a lot of questions that we know that our community and the listeners that have too. And then out there, listeners on YouTube or on the Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment in the comment section down there. And we'll try to get to all those questions and comments as we go along. So, Coach Eug, anything?
All right, so you got a Haskell alum in the house, and then you got your very own Haskell Rascal. Oh, just kidding.
Haskell Rascal.
No, but kind of what led to signing a Haskell? You know what I mean? How were they just reaching out to you? Did you approach them? Kind of what was the thought process behind that? And then maybe let us a little bit know about Haskell's race team or track team, where they got there now.
Okay, so I would say the end of my junior year cross country, end of the state meet, Coach Gipp down there got in contact with me, sent me a couple letters and stuff, the newspaper. And from there, I just started connection with him. He knew me since I was a little young boy while my dad was there. And so going on and on throughout this year, Coach Greg, who's the new coach there, is I have a real good connection with him, and I just think it's the best fit for me.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't surprised because I kind of heard, my boys are in high school now, and I kind of heard through the grapevine that Dami was going to be leaning towards running rather than playing basketball. But I know in your heart, Dami, I know that if there was a way that you can be a two-sport athlete, I know you would go play basketball too. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Just to let y'all know, we'll see this first year. First year I might just stay on running, but then the second year, who knows, I may they have a lot of seniors graduating, so I'll be looking forward to that second year of trying out basketball.
Oh yeah, and then having your dad, down there and played his college career out of that same gym, I think that would be a really good fit for you. It kind of seemed like your own home court from back in the day, I remember being down there back in 2009. That I remember when you was a little guy down there, still shooting around down there in the college hoops. And I remember trying to get you to do a couple things, and your dad's like, "Well, I don't know if he wants to, because he's kind of a gym rat. You don't like going anywhere else besides the gym." So, and then over the course of the years, seeing you grow up, your dad was right that whole time. He was a gym rat, always in the gym. So, I think those are good teachings. I worked with your dad, Jeff, before, and a lot of the same teachings that I had, your dad has the same ones, and then he not only got to share it with you, but with all your classmates and your peers and the ones that are a few years older than you. So I know that a lot of the young athletes learn from Coach Jeff. So say pinigigi to you, Jeff, for your time that you put in. Really proud of the young man, the young coach that you become over the years. And I know that later on in this segment, we're going to talk about maybe what you plan on doing in the near future. So, okay, so Dami, so Coach Kip, how long have you known him?
Well, he knew me since I was a youngin, like I said, but throughout when I was growing up through my high school years, I kept in contact with him when I would go down there and stuff. And over my junior year, we got really close.
Really close? That's nice.
So just let us know about running this year then, right? You've been getting some first place meets. I know you got second a few different times, whatnot. Well, what's motivating you? You know what I mean? What's pushing you to just blaze by everybody and keep your pace? And I think we got to watch you run cross country with Mahena over there for a little while, but I always remember that one kid from Hardington, right?
Yeah.
He was just ridiculous, right? Like the kid was
Yeah.
ridiculous, but I feel like you might be able to go compete. Have you got to run against him this year yet?
In cross country, yeah, but in track, no. I only will see him at conference and districts, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, go back to, like I said, what's keeping you going this year? Like, what's the motivation to just win everything at this point?
Honestly, it's just what I want for me, and I know I can go out there and compete with the big dogs like Carson. But it's just, I don't know, something in my mind, something in the bottom in my heart. I just I don't know, I want to go out there and show who I am, and I feel like I'm underrated still. So I got something to prove this year in track.
I probably agree with you on that one for sure.
Yeah, especially senior year. Like in the past, since you've been in high school, you've been competing at that high level, and I know that you want to get over that hump, that to get that championship. And sometimes people wait their entire good runners wait their entire high school career to get to that level, and I agree. I think you're on that level right now where that gold medal is it's in grasp. It's right there in front of you, and it's totally up to you and how fast or how hard you push yourself. So my question, to piggyback off of Coach Eug's question, is so what's your best time so far? What is your best time? Just say in your best one, with your 2 mile, what's your best time?
2 mile is my best PR is a 10:22.
10:22. And so when you hit 10:22, when was that? How long ago was that?
It was last year around the fourth meet, I think.
Last year, about the fourth meet, 10:22. Okay.
What about your mile?
My mile is a 4:36.
And then when did that happen?
Last year.
Last
Forgot
year?
what meet it's. Yep.
Okay. So just trying to put this little puzzle together. What do you see in your next couple of track meets? Because I know it's getting towards the end of the year. Are you getting close to those times?
Yes, I'm actually really close to those times.
Really close to those times? Okay, good. Yeah, because when you say, oh, it was last year sometime, I'm like, oh man, is this kid slowing down or something? Is he putting muscle on or what? But if you're right there by those times, I think it's just a matter of waking up that day, maybe saying a real good prayer,
Yeah.
And getting your mind right, and going out there and just saying, heck with it, I'm going to sprint this whole thing, and I think you can pull away with it. I think you can be the conference champ, district champ, and then come back and get that state champ.
Yep, that's the plan, man.
What's your nutrition plan? Is it like you eat whatever? I know you're a picky guy, man. We've been to tournaments together. You know what I mean? I know you don't like eat too much, but certain things.
That's a good question.
Like, what's the game day meal? What's the pregame? What's the water intake? Like, what's it get to those PRs?
What's the playlist? What's your
pre-meet,
playlist?
I would like to say like some pasta or some chicken Alfredo, maybe like some spaghetti.
Yeah.
And then on the day of meet days, drink a lot of water. You gotta hydrate. I don't know, maybe like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I have a water bottle, but I'm not sure how many gallons or whatever it is. But on meet day, I usually like eat fruit in the morning. The school offers us fruit, so I'll be taking that, and then I have my little granola bars here and there. I can't eat too much because it kind of slow me down, But yeah, other than that, outside of it, it's just, I don't know, eat whatever I want.
Eat whatever you want.
The good old days.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, he tries to cut his soda intake and stuff during
Yeah.
season and stuff, so he doesn't really
No
drink
soda for like a
sodas.
month right now.
Yeah, those bubbles, that fizz, that sodas, that slows you down. It really does. Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that question, because that's a question nobody even asks about diet.
Yeah.
It's big though.
Yeah.
It's huge. It really is.
Yeah, and then to go back on his running times this year, I know they're a little bit slower. I know yesterday was pretty slow times, but he won, but it was slow times. But you got to count in the factor of the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Like every track meet so far this year has just been so windy.
Yeah.
So it's real hard to try to get to those PRs or try to break those things. So he's been running really good.
Yeah.
With the weather. So
Considering that the wind really takes, literally takes your breath away, especially if it's on that back stretch and you're like, you got to run with your face down and stuff like that. Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, people don't know that, but the wind plays a big factor in track.
Yeah.
Then what about the next one I'm thinking about is the track surfaces. Like compared to ours, I know you practice on our track every day, but like I suppose you go to other places and maybe their track's not up to snuff. Is it? I mean, I know all of them are probably pretty decent, but like what would be your favorite one that you ran on, or is there big differences at different track meets, or how does that affect it?
I would say there's a little difference between like the turf or whatever they put out. I don't know what you call that, but there's like some are like a little bit smaller, than some feel like a little bit bigger, but I don't know. It's just like if you're a runner, then you know how to like, what the difference is and stuff. Can't really explain it.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So I know one thing, that if I was you and in your position, especially your senior year, not only would I be trying to beat your time, your personal best, but in that back hallway back there, I know Wally Earth has a couple records back there that you're probably got an eye on, right?
Yeah, I've been looking into it. It's definitely on my mind, but who knows? The biggest thing is to just get to stay and come back with some medals.
Yeah. But do you know the difference in the time of how many more seconds?
I think he's like a 4:20 something like that.
4:20 something. You're at 4.
I'm at a 4:36, which was last year, but this year I'm like, the best time I got this year was a 4:42, so it just matters on that day. If the wind is not there, then I'm going for it.
I see.
So Wally had all the wind in his favor? No.
Yeah, no wind.
Had the wind in his back and that back stretch, the wind changed and pushing his way.
Yeah.
So question for Jeffrey. Just like as a dad, you know what I mean? You kind of dig through. You go down the rabbit hole and look at like last year's state times and who all came back. Like, do you get into all that kind of stuff, or does Dami kind of let you know, or how does that work for you?
No, not really. I just kind of just go with it, and I'm just proud that he's doing it, because I know a lot of kids, usually sports, you got a lot of numbers and kids back off of it. So I'm just glad he stuck it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people ask me like what motivates him and stuff, and at the beginning it was just to be in shape for basketball.
Yeah.
But then he ended up loving it and being good at it, so then he kind of just grasped it and went with it. And it's a totally different ball game from basketball, and just the mindset of I'm gonna go out there and run hard every day. And you can go to some of these meets and you can tell what kids are running hard and the kids that are just there just to be out of school.
Just on the team, to be on the team.
So I really don't dig into that. Lately I've been, I kind of ask just the coaches about it. I really don't ask him about it. Just ask the coaches, and then just being at the meets and knowing some guys from basketball coaching, they're track coaches, so I kind of asked them about times and stuff, so they got a better insight. because like to me it's all brand new. I was talking about that yesterday. Like how did I go from baller's life to being at these track meets and burning out in the sun?
For real.
So it's I was just talking about that yesterday with some people. So it's kind of different, but it's really exciting. Like my first time going to a cross country meet, I didn't know what to expect, and man, you got parents out there running across these fields and just out there running their own race, really,
screaming at the kid as they run by.
So it's pretty exciting. If you haven't been to one, it's pretty exciting, especially a cross country meet, because you got parents and their coaches running across these golf courses and cornfields just to get them at the next corner. So it's pretty exciting.
For real, I went. My boy Sequoia ran his senior year, and my boy Dryas ran his senior year. So I got to go to a few those cross country meets, and it was kind of crazy. I was like, wow, I never been here, and I was like, but then my mind too, I'm like, hey, this golf course looks pretty good. We need to come down here. But this cross country looks like it's a tough one, but it looks fun though. It actually looks fun. I mean, if I could run like that, I would rather run on a golf course than run on a track. So
they're tough. I mean, I think the last one I went to that I went and watched you guys run with you and Hannah, it was all the way down like south of Norfolk. Remember that one? I was way out there. It was windy and cold that day.
Yeah.
It was south of Norfolk, and I quit going because I came home with a new car on the way back. I said, I better not go over there no more.
Came back about 20 grand in a hole. No, that's good. That's good. Hey, so I guess one thing that I want to know too, I mean, I'm going to let you know, is that, being a coach, whether it be, basketball, pee-wee football, track, softball, baseball, any of the coaches, a lot of times that we like to reach into our pockets and pull out names for these kids. Hey, do you remember this guy? Or hey, you should have work ethic like this guy, And so, in all honesty, and it's not just because that we're related, but it's because of your work ethic. When I talk to any of the students, I work with middle school students right now. If I talk to any of the students about work ethic, whether it be, for track or basketball or football or anything like that, I always bring up your name, because these kids all know you. They see you in school every day. And so I'm like, if you guys would work as hard as Dami does, don't mean you have to be faster, just in the effort that you put in. If you work hard like Dami, you guys can take this to the next level, and I use that as fuel for these young guys because that's why I look at you. I look at you as being a leader. We talked about all basketball season. We look at you as being a leader and somebody that if the younger ones follow you, like whether they follow you to workouts or follow you to the weight room or just follow the attitude that you have, the vision that you have, that these students can really pick up on that and become something else, because we see the effort that some students that put in. And if you have 2 or 3 kids on your team putting in all this work and they're putting in all this effort and they're listening to the coaches, they're listening to the parents, they're taking hints from everybody else, and then you got the other 5 or 6 kids that are just there just to be there, knowing that basketball or football or something like that is the sport here. And you're not really going to be good as a team sport if it's just 1 or 2 people doing all the work, I mean, the extra work, not all the work, the extra work. So I just want to let you know that I do use your name to these young guys, so to motivate them to try to be better and try harder.
So give us a little snippet here, going off of what he said, kind of what's the advice you got for young guys coming up, whether they want to be runners, they want to do this, they want to do that. What's gonna your word of advice for them to just push them forward?
Or what do you say? Because I know that you talk to these young guys.
You tell the guys what's
up.
What
do you say?
At school, there's all these little junior high kids that come up to me and stuff. It's all jokes and games and stuff, but in reality, what I want for them is to be the best version of themselves, Whether that's cutting people off, making your decision, do what's best for you and what you want to be, and just dream to it. If your dream ain't big enough, make it even bigger, man.
Yeah.
For real. You listeners out there, you young ones that are in high school or junior high, as coaches up here, we up here, visiting with these athletes, with these coaches, trying to get a little bit of what's on their mind or what's in their mind out there, so you can hear those things. at some point, one of these coaches or one of these athletes is going to say something that's going to click inside one of you young guys' heads, you young gals' heads, and it's going to be like, man, that's what I needed to hear. And then after that, you're going to see a difference in that athlete right there. So, you young ones that are listening to this, take heed to the words that the coaches and the athletes are saying on this show, because, what we're doing is not only are we're on here to recruit, we're out here to show our community and neighboring communities of what kind of athletes that we have around here in Winnebago, and then not only on the court, but the hard work that they put off the court too. So, myself, I want to say thank you to you for being not only the athlete that you are, but the student you are too, because not only will these young ones want to be like you on the court or on the track, but in that classroom too. Mm-hmm. And that's huge, that's huge. And then I guess one thing that I wanted to say too is, Bethany, can you pull that visual up of the signing? Is that the thing that makes me happiest about your signing day is, and if the viewers can see this on YouTube, is look at your face on there. That's pure joy, it's pure happiness, and I know that you might be able to remember what was going through your mind as that pen hit that paper right there. And so what I want you to do is encouragement from coach or from your Dega is that feeling you had, keep that feeling going right there. Mm-hmm. That feeling you had right in that picture right there, keep that feeling going. Because look, both your mom and dad are staring right at that pen, right at that paper, and they're even more proud of you than anybody that's on this earth right here, those two right there. So continue on making those two proud. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, because I think you got a big, bright future ahead of you. And like I said, you've kind of done everything right. You've kind of put yourself on the path that you want to be on. Being able to work with you ever since you was a little bitty guy and watching you grow and everything. That's all big things for you. But, with experience, learn a little bit. You'll have all the experience from your dad, what he had to go through to kind of get himself there, put himself through all 4 years. And, as a dad myself, watching Kelsey kind of get through her first year of college, it's going to be those tough times. You know what I mean? When you're just down there by yourself, you got to make sure you get yourself up, get yourself to class. You got to go get to that workout or put in that extra work. And that's that whole thing about, when nobody's watching, right? That's that character stuff they always talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, looking forward to it, man. Yes, honestly,
It's too easy to leave Winnebago, be on your own somewhere. It's too easy just to be like, nobody's keeping track of my homework, so I could just skip it tonight or something like that. But then you end up doing that, then you end up falling to the same ruts that other student athletes gone on to that had to lead because of grades. Always stay on top of your grades. I'm sure that your coaches will make sure you're on top of your grades. But I got to actually give a shout out. Okay, I got to give a shout out to the academy at Winnebago. Just like your daughter Kelsey got through the academy and stuff like that, she could have went and got that full ride to UNL, but she chose her love, which is golf, and to be able to play at the collegiate level. She chose that over a full ride at UNL, and then that's exactly what Dami's doing right now too. Is he's choosing to go to where he's gonna be happy. Yeah. Go to where he's gonna be happy, even though that the academy does certain things and stuff like that. He's choosing to be happy, and I think that's huge for him and for his family, because then if he's happy, he's gonna run good.
See, that's something we talk about on here all the time, is all the opportunities that the schools have opened up. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of just really started with I think you have to turn back the clock, but who was one of the couple of fierce college athletes out of Winnebago got signed? I think of Snyder, I think John White, all the old guys started to get recruited to UNL. But for you, Jeff, who was your first basketball player that kind of made that jump? At the table with making signings for on your end.
To be honest, when I was in school, I don't think I ever seen anybody sign with the school. That's what I was thinking, yeah. So I never had the opportunity to see anybody sign or say, hey, I'm going to go play sports here and there. Probably the one person that sticks out to my mind would be Quince's brother, Pete. He went off and played at United Tribes, and he actually did pretty good up there and got to play in a national tournament for them and made a big-time shot for them. So right there was a little bit of motivation for myself to see them. But then it's just my older brother playing, got to see him play and play with him, and see all these other people that played through my high school career that were pretty good. And that's one thing that really motivated me to get back and give back and give these kids another opportunity. Seeing all these great athletes out of Winnebago, but they really never went out and did anything with their talent. So that was one of the motivations for me to come back and try to give those opportunities that I end up getting, but to give them at a high school level.
See, but I think that might have been a big turning point for Winnebago sports in general, though, because if you turn back the clock, like you're talking about, like Pete went out and found that. But I mean, even like when I was in high school, I don't think any coaches were ever talking about, well, hey man, you might be able to play college ball somewhere.
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
there was never even conversations happening at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, when I was in school, Mr. James, Coach James, he might have been one of the first ones because he tried to get me to go play football down in Midland, and that's where he went to school. So he was probably one of the only coaches that, hey man, you can go play football. And stuff like that. I think
like even like with Jason Gostog, I think Peru recruited him as a quarterback. You know, things didn't pan out because they ended up having like 3 others there, and you know, this and that. But like, I think Cedric would have been a really good quarterback at the college level. You know, there's all kinds of different athletes that you can put together and out there. But like you said, it just came down to you know, who's pushing, right, and who's the different people that are in place that have those contacts or have those different connections that can push these kids in that proper direction. Because even if it starts a little bit younger, man, that motivates classwork. You know what I'm saying? That motivates classwork to be at a certain level, because we've all seen it happen where we got great athletes, but you know, grade was just snuffed, right? It just held them back a little bit. You know, that's nothing to sniff at or nothing like that. But at the same time, I feel like now where Winnebago sports is as a whole, it seems like it's just you're on the cusp of just like every year. Right, somebody's going somewhere. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's been like that for the past few years now.
It's just with the coaching, just different people stepping in and having those connections to different schools and coaches, and actually doing well in high school really helps. But this day and age with sports, like you talked about, it's you got to start younger. Like you got to be starting at like 5th, 6th grade nowadays, because you're playing sports year round. It's like with the running stuff, like I'm so new to it. Like Prep Running Nerds are a really good resource for social media stuff to follow them. Like there was a lot of great athletes that didn't play basketball this year. They ran because the indoor track season is getting bigger, where these top high school athletes, they're forgetting basketball and they're running indoor track. So they're running at UNO, UNL, Mount Marty. They got all indoor track meets, so these kids can go up there and run unattached from their school. So
really,
it's getting really big. So like himself, like if there was a track meet off day of his basketball game, he could have, all right, I'm gonna go run and just sign up and run unattached from the school. So it's getting really big, and it's every sport's like that. Like you think about it, like you play basketball year round if you really wanted to. And like so it's but it starts early nowadays. So
crazy.
Well, I know that we discussed a lot about down to Lawrence, Kansas, and Haskell Nations University. We discussed Dami's future in running. How about academics? Do you have a field that you're going to shoot for down there when you go to college?
I'm looking into sports management, the athletic trainer side of it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I know a few coaches now that are coaches now. They went down to Haskell to do the same thing. And you know, myself, I'll say something that I used to say to your dad, and then I know he said it to the other kids too, is, you know, when you get done with all this sports stuff, you get done with, you know, the things that's making you happy, you go out and get your degree and stuff, you know, take some time, figure out what your purpose is, you know, and then come back and give back to the sport. And if it's track or cross country, come back and share your knowledge with these youngsters around here. If it's basketball, come back and share that, you know, come back and, like your dad said, give back to the game that gave us so much, you know. And because I try to give back to basketball all the time, because if I didn't, I don't even know what I'd be doing right now, you know. I'd be a landlord and that'd be it, you know. I don't know what else I'd be doing, but you know, but it's real fulfilling. I remember as a younger coach, coaching basketball with these younger ones, and I always thought that too, like, why don't our kids go out and play college hoops? We have so many good athletes that come out of Winnebago that could have played college hoops, but I don't think they were really pushed, you know. I mean, you got to have coaching staff, you got to have parents and a community behind you, you know. And over the course of those years, I remember Coach Jeff went on to play for Haskell. I remember going out to my Auntie Pearl's house. Everybody show up, bring potluck, because Haskell's game was going to be on TV. And so I remember going out there and watching, and just to support that I saw in that living room while Jeff was playing on TV is like huge, And so then it gave me, being one of his former coaches, gave me that satisfaction. Like, okay, Jeff's good to go, And then Aaron LaPointe came up, and Kenny Blackhawk, my boy Greg, just all these athletes just started shooting for that. Was their goal.
Yeah.
That was their goal now. It wasn't just, hey, we want to try to get to Lincoln, or hey, I want to be leading scorer this year. It wasn't that. It was actually going on to play at the next level, which is what we all talked about.
Yeah, but even like when Little Priest was able to bring up their college team, that was huge, right? I mean, it was huge to give everybody a lot of opportunity. And I seen the poll that was going around. You think they'll bring it back?
I hope so. I mean,
really
like you said,
too.
it was a really good opportunity, and a lot of people really didn't understand the quality of basketball that we were playing. Like,
correct,
the conference that we're in was crazy. It was like one of the best conferences around, and then just to get rid of it like that is, I mean, I know the pandemic played a lot, but still, I hope that does. I hope just to get back, and even if it's the AHEC League and playing other native schools, I mean, just to start somewhere and hopefully get back to that stature where we can have basketball or even have running, because I mean, we got the track. We can go to cross country meets and stuff like that. So it's possible. So
what you're saying is Wellington needs to start a running program, and we need a little feeder program for running.
Actually, you could, like, you got AAU track meets. Like, you got kids out here just running in meets. So yeah, I mean, it's possible. And I mean, I know a lot of people say that running is in Native Americans' blood. So I mean, it is, and it's just finding that love and finding that passion and seeing that actually you can go out and go to school and do all these things with running.
Yeah, I mean, beyond, I mean, you guys got to help me out here. Beyond Wally, I mean, who else has ever gotten a college scholarship for running?
You know
what I mean? Does that even exist for one of them? Dami might be number one right now.
Yeah, and to be honest, and that's what he was talking about the other day, about who else is the top runners and who went to state and stuff. The only person I remember like actually going for long distance would have been GR. Did long distance. Daryl LaPointe went to state, and then you got Corey in the 800, and we was talking about that today.
Trey, not Trey, is old. Yeah, Trey for
long
jump and
high jump.
And then Lola went for pole vault or something like that. You know what I mean?
George went to. So I met that traditions there of kids going to state. It's just finding that love for it. I think that's what it is. Like, a lot of kids don't see themselves running.
Well, I mean, and to piggyback off what you're saying there, I mean, even like the whole golf thing with my kids, I mean, it was never there. You know what I mean? It was all brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no precedence. There's no, hey, this is how it goes, and this is how you do to get there, and this and that. But like you said, I mean, credit to your coaching staff too. You know what I mean? I know you're the one putting in all the work and stuff, but I mean, your coaching staff is letting you know what type of numbers you need, you know, what your strides need to look like, what your splits need to be. You know what I mean? And kind of breaking it down for you so you can start understanding that mental part of the sport, because it's like, I mean, I'm assuming you're timing yourself a lot, right? You're catching your splits, right? Do you even kind of, what's a normal 100 for you when you're running the mile? Like, well, I mean 400, sorry. If you're running the mile,
in the 2 mile, it would be around 113 to 118. Give myself a 5-second span each lap.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like knowing that stuff.
Yeah.
I even reached out. I reached out to Coach Gip down at Haskell. I said, hey, man, I don't coach running. I said, what can he work on just to knock off a few seconds? So he kind of gave me some pointers and stuff. But it's even like in that aspect of going to running camps or going to these team track meet camps and stuff, is just finding those opportunities so he can learn more. Because like I said, he just did it to stay in shape for basketball.
Never slowed down.
So he never like had real pointers on, oh, this is what your stride should look like, or this is when you kick it, or this is how you finish, or stuff like that. So it's just
that's one reason why we was trying to get the fastest native alive in here on the same day.
Have you met Robert before? You know Robert Ironshaw?
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys all right? You cool or no?
no,
Because see, that's that would have been an awesome interview right here with
Yeah.
with Robert here, and then with Dama here, and then we could have actually even got some encouraging words from one to another, right here on the show. And but I really think that conversation, I mean, if it hasn't happened already, it needs to happen on a number of occasions, because especially right before these districts and conferences and stuff come up, because myself, I want to see you beat that kid that you said, what was his name?
Carson Necker.
Carson?
Yeah.
I want to see you beat that kid.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
He's fast, dude. I
No,
don't know.
I mean, I heard, man. I heard.
we watched
that's
him run.
Yeah, that's something to go watch him. Like if he's like district, district usually is, I don't know where it was last year.
2 weeks. It'll probably be at Hardington.
Yeah, and or even at state, to see him run, to see that kid run is amazing to see.
Really?
Like, it's just unnatural. Like, he's just so.
Because he's from a family of marathoners,
Yeah,
right? Isn't that what
Oh,
it is?
man.
They train for like 10 mile,
they're
full marathon,
the whole-
half marathon.
So yeah, he's
get it.
lapping.
I get
He's
it.
almost lapping everybody twice.
Yeah, he does
Even at the state meet, he'll lap kids.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Yeah. So actually, you might be able to see him in Norfolk. So that's one thing. I know we're talking about conference and districts, but next Thursday is the Norfolk Classic. It's invite only. So been talking to some coaches at these meets.
Yeah.
They're saying this is the meet you want to watch.
This is the
It's
one.
this is harder to get in than state.
Okay.
So everything's based off of time, and they're and like at state you got, all right, he's running with all Class C runners. No, this one's open. He's gonna be running against Class A, Class B, Class
All right,
C, D.
all right.
It's the best
Wow.
of the best in the area, and it's invite only. You got to qualify by time. So that's next Thursday in Norfolk, and it starts at 4. But you probably need to be on lookout for the schedule.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to send a sport rep over or something.
It's
You know what I
gonna
mean?
be-
Get some
it's gonna
pictures
be,
and stuff.
So right
I'm
now,
winking at Bethany, you know.
so right now,
per diem.
the 2 mile and a mile, he's pretty much locked in to get in there. He's shooting for, hopefully he gets in with the 800 too.
Okay.
So, and that's one of his new races. I don't know if you guys want to touch base on that. It's one of his new races this year is the 800.
Yeah.
So 2 times around, it's pretty much a dead sprint. Nowadays, it's a dead sprint. So he really enjoys that race because it's
short.
Yeah, it's
to him.
short and it's competitive. Like it's a
Yeah.
race. Like he's got somebody there pushing him to win. Or
Oh, man.
so it's
Are you trying to catch somebody?
yeah,
I can see it.
yeah.
I can see it.
So
yeah.
he gets really pumped. Like yesterday was a pretty good race. We had a BR kid trying to make a move on him yesterday, and he finished gave us a nice yell. And, so yeah, he gets really pumped after that race. So it's a pretty good race. So hopefully he gets in there. And then another thing is Tressa Big Bear. She got gold yesterday for the first time in her little career that she's been
Really?
running. Yeah, she ran the 2 mile.
2 mile.
Yeah,
Sick.
She got the golden 2 mile?
yeah, she trailed that whole race, probably about good 20 yards, 50 yards the whole race, and she had a good kick, and shoot, she ended up passing up a Fremont Bergen girl and took home gold.
She's one of my favorite bagel basketball players right
Yeah.
now, man.
Yeah,
She's got a lot of heart,
so,
dude. She
yeah.
plays hard, man. I like that.
So that is a big
And then
shout out to
and
her.
She's a what? Sophomore?
Just a sophomore, so-
That's something else. Yeah. Shout out and congratulations to
Yeah.
Well,
Tressa.
I'm assuming Diamond's probably got a lot to do with that, though. You know what I mean? I see them running a lot together, probably talking a lot.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yep.
Motivating each other, this and that. You know, you've seen her kind of spurn from that freshman player to who she is now, and that doesn't. I mean, I'm not even surprised. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you tell me that,
So-
and I'm not surprised because that's the kind
Yeah.
of kid she is. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that'd be a calendar mark for next Thursday though.
Okay.
That Norfolk Classic, it should be a good one. So
Next Thursday, I believe that's the 27th?
27th, yeah.
27th. If you guys got the day off or want to play hooky or something like that, if you want to go check out that track meet,
Yeah, that's
head
what I
over-
said.
head
It's-
over to Norfolk.
Yeah, it starts a little bit later at 4. It starts, so all the field events usually go first. It usually takes about a good hour and a half. So-
Don may be running in the lights underneath the lights.
Yeah, and it
That'd be
usually
awesome.
goes pretty late. So yeah, it
Alright.
should be pretty cool.
And if there's a way to see the live stream, we'll try to get that link and put it on the Winnebago Big Voice Facebook page, so you guys can just maybe click on a couple things and we could watch that race from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for letting us know about that one.
So moving on, next thing here. What's next for Coach Jeff?
Yeah. So what is what is next in line for Coach Jeff? I know that I want to know, and I know Eug wants to know too. And so, if we want to know, everybody wants to know.
Yeah, I get a lot of people asking about that. In reality, it's really I'm really enjoying the time off.
Yeah.
Like not just being able to relax and enjoy my kids and watch them play sports and just be a fan. It feels really good just to do that for a little bit. I really don't got nothing planned out or anything. I'm just going with the flow. And my plan is to I kind of helped out with my younger kids' basketball teams this winter. So just kind of helping out here and there. Did a couple practices with Stoner, with Aubreyal's team, and helped out with Jeffrey's little second grade team. So just kind of getting them ready, kind of getting letting them choose their sports and stuff like that. And I'm really looking forward to just watching Dami compete at the collegiate level.
I was just going to say that, yeah. I mean, if you don't lock yourself down anywhere, because, I mean, I feel like I'm in that same boat trying to go watch Kelsey golf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to get down there on Friday, but with everything come up, luckily it's on a Friday. I can take the day off, you know, and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean, where you're open to be able to do that.
Yeah, and just going to enjoy his stuff and see him compete at that level, because I know he's a hard worker, and I know he really enjoys it when people come out and support and cheer him on and stuff. So I just want to be that parent where I'm always there encouraging him and cheering him on and there for his good times and his bad times. So I'm just looking forward to the scheduling and stuff. I know for cross country down here, the top 6 in cross country, it's the top 6 that make kind of like the varsity roster. That's who's
and that's all based on time, right? You got to make the time
and stuff. But they got a big. They go out to Eugene, Oregon, and running the Duck Classic and stuff. So, so that'd be really awesome to try to go out there and catch that. And then, like this past week, the track team, they competed in the Kansas relays at KU. So, and like when it comes to running, it's really different. Like it's all based off of time, and it's like he'll be running against D1, D2, JUCOs, like all these events. It's not just sanctioned for NAIA, or so it's. He's going to go out and compete against these top dogs from everywhere. Yeah. So, like, Haskell had about 10 athletes that qualified for the KU relays this past weekend. So, there was Haskell kids running at the KU relays against everybody. Yeah. So, it's going to be pretty exciting just to catch his events.
Okay.
I got one for Downey real quick.
You got one?
All right.
Quick one, and I got 2 quick ones.
Quick one is this. You got to tell us who your favorite college basketball and football is so you don't come back a KU fan for life. When you get back, you got to tell us now. Who are they?
Everybody already knows his.
Who are they?
Basketball, Duke.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Football, gotta go with them Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh. Okay. All right. When he starts wearing Kansas stuff around, guys, you heard it here first. That's all I got to say.
We're wearing KU stuff around. Okay. My first quick one. You ever met Billy Mills yet?
No.
No? Have you watched his race yet?
Here and there.
Just the end?
Yeah.
All right. So I got one for you. Watch the movie Running Brave. Okay? The movie Running Brave. It's with starring Robbie Benson, and he plays Billy Mills, but you need to watch that, okay? I think you need to watch that for 2 small reasons. He went to Haskell, and he ran for KU. All right, so anyway, okay, my last one, and then after that, then we'll go ahead and excuse you guys. We got a couple coaches that just walked in that's gonna be finishing off the show with us. But Dami, I don't know, maybe how did I want to try to word this? Your dad's sitting right here. He done a lot for you. I just want maybe I know you probably thank him every day and stuff like that, but you're getting ready to take off to go to college and all that kind of stuff. Coming up soon. Is there a short message you want to share with your dad before we're done with this interview?
He knows the deal. He knows what we on and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I thank him every day. Grateful for him and everything he does for not only me but for the whole family, my siblings and stuff. And when I go there, just want to make him proud, make the family proud, but just make me proud and walk across that stage.
Oh man, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And then Coach Jeff. Same thing with Dom here, fast like, and then we'll call it quits.
Yeah, just like I always tell you, I'm so proud of you, of what you've done so far in your young life, of being a great big brother, and the athlete, and you encouraging these young ones. I see that especially today at the career fair, college fair that we had over at the school, and you was in there quite a few, and all these kids were coming up to you and just being that role model, and continue to be that role model, and just let you know, like I always tell you, I'm proud of you and I love you, and continue your good work.
Well, I'm gonna say Pini Gigi to the Barrage boys for stopping in and giving us a good interview. And you guys are listening to 100.9 FM on your dial. We are KWTN, the Big Voice, and this is the Big Voice Talk Show. So we're gonna be.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks a lot, guys, for showing up, and we'll be calling you when you bring back that gold.
We didn't even get to NBA playoffs with those guys, man. They would have been a good one to talk to about, man. We didn't even get there.
Me and you, we're gonna get there at the end. We're gonna argue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stepping to the microphones right now. We have two of our community's best volleyball coaches. Both of them served some time, and maybe even not serve some time.
We didn't serve that kind of time.
No.
Well, I've been known.
And serve some time on the sidelines with our youth for the sport of volleyball.
That's right.
I know that Coach Willie's coached at the high school level, and I've seen Brian working, especially like in the off season for volleyball with a number of different teams.
Right.
And so we did talk about volleyball quite a bit during the season. Winnebago has a really young volleyball team. But tonight we asked the guys to come in to visit a little bit about the sport, but in the sand. So we all know that around this area, Sioux City has a couple sand volleyball leagues that go on, and these two young men have been playing in these leagues for a number of years. So that's what we brought you guys on today for. So we want to discuss sand volleyball, and that's a new topic. We talked about volleyball, we talked about other things, but sand volleyball is what we want to talk about tonight. Can you guys, one at a time, tell us a little bit about your history of playing sand volleyball and how long you've been playing, and then what you guys are doing this summer?
Okay, cool.
Go ahead, Brian.
I actually started playing in the sand in 1990. The Riverside courts, which are still there, so if you go to Riverside Park in Sioux City, Iowa, you can see the courts that are there. That's where I pretty much cut my teeth and I learned. I had the benefit of having a couple, they were a little bit older than me, but guys that knew how to play and teach you how to maneuver in the game, because of course I had been playing since I was in junior high on the court, but not really in any kind of sand environment until then. And the game is different. The indoor game and the outdoor game are very, very different. You have to learn how to deal with the elements, the sun, the wind, all that kind of stuff. And the more you can learn about it, plus also running and jumping in the sand.
Oh yeah, range. So
it's much different.
Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah,
let's name drop. Who are those few people
in Sioux City? The guys that there was Brad Schultzen, Jerry, I forgot his last name. It just went out of my head. Shelby Flick. There was another guy named Art. He's no longer around the Sioux City area, and some other guys too. I think they moved. But then, of course, we got into the sand leagues from that point when I was young as well, and played with a lot of people from around here. The teams that we played with. Quincy, you were part of that. You, Buff, a lot of members of your family and that kind of thing. Darla and stuff. So the sand leagues were always the big thing during the summer, and it took off from there.
I want to give a shout out, rest in peace, but a shout out to Gary St. Cyr.
Oh yeah, of course.
Gary St. Cyr. He I remember he taught me a lot about ball rotation.
Right.
I was always the one when on the passing that flies out of bounds and stuff like that.
I know.
Hey, delete that part. No, but Gary was actually the one that that actually showed me how to be able to control the volleyball with your arms like that. So
right.
Shout out to Gary. But go ahead, finish.
No, and the the game just continued to evolve from that point, because you guys remember standard scoring back in the day, you could only score a point if you were the team that served. I know to a lot of young people that's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, rally scoring didn't come in until the late 90s, turn of the century.
That's when the games went all night.
Yep, and it was too. I actually watched an indoor women's game that was literally 5 hours long. So
Just a game?
yeah,
Wow.
at UCLA versus Stanford, 1989.
Oh my goodness.
Google it,
Yep.
Yeah.
YouTube it.
Because you had to earn that point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Versus it just being lost on the serve if
That's
you
right.
monkeyed it up. All right.
And that's kind of where the term side out came from. Side out doesn't actually exist anymore. It means that, if you switch the side of the serve without getting the point, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Good one to know. I'm gonna tell the wifey that. She screams that all the time.
Tell her you're right.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
time.
One time. Yeah,
Then-
one
Willie
time.
said,
Then message me tomorrow and tell me what she says.
I know.
But overall,
hey, starting stuff.
yeah, with that, so playing, again, I started playing as a kid in junior high. Of course, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for the men's game, so you either had to play, co-ed or whatever else, and then the 2-on-2 in the sand, of course, which is how it was done back in the day. You didn't play 4s or 6; it was 2-on-2. So it really, really demanded your passing ability and your ability to put the ball away, and that's what it taught you as well. So,
All right.
yep.
How about you, Will?
So I learned a lot from Brian and my brothers and the group of people that play volleyball around Winnebago who have taught me a lot of things.
Right.
I mean, Trish Smith, her name comes to mind, and Darla, my 2 older brothers, Quince and Buff, Brian, even Sharon, when she was out there, I always admired her. She had a really consistent, good serve, and
Yeah.
my Dega Jerome, senior, kind of had a wicked top spin serve, and I was always in awe by that. And shoot, I remember one time we had a family gathering or birthday up at St. Aug's up at the gym, and we had the volleyball net set up, and that's when Dega Hano was like, hey guys, this is I'll show you guys a pancake here. He kind of just tossed the ball, and then he really kind of flopped on the ground with his hand out, and then the ball bounced off his hand. And at first, when I first saw it, I couldn't piece it together. What just happened?
Yeah, what do you do?
Right, and so his hand was flat on the surface of the floor, and flat as a pancake, and the ball bounced off his hand. It didn't even touch the ground, and that's a legal play. It's still good. It looks like it's bouncing off the ground, but it's actually bouncing off your hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, do people actually do that? And then. And then as YouTube became popular and more videos got shared, I was, Googling pancakes and seeing how it was played in the college setting. And man, those are some sick plays. So obviously I practiced it, worked on it, did my best. And, eventually, whatever. I like to think I have it mastered. But now it's just a matter of getting my body there fast enough, because kind of getting up there now, slowing down a little bit. But I still play as much as I can. And I remember the first time I remember falling in love with the sport was there was an all-Indian tournament in Tama. And I think you guys were short a team member, or one of your third guy dropped off or something. I don't know who that third guy was. Was it Buff?
Probably Buff.
Probably. No.
Probably Buff. Couldn't go anywhere. He's on lockdown.
He was on lockdown. Had a ball and chain, I guess.
Had a ball and chain that day.
Bro, I remember, I think it was a Friday, and I think Quince, you asked me to play and sub for whoever that was.
Yeah.
And I was kind of skeptical at first, because basketball was my number 1 sport at the time. And I remember that you were desperate. You're like, we just need someone. All you do is just stand there. So okay, well, I'll go. Plus, I got to get out of school that day.
Didn't even let him try to hit. Just stand there.
Well,
He was really young.
yeah,
he was
I was a
good.
natural athlete.
Were
I
you a
mean,
freshman?
I think I was a freshman. Yeah, freshman in high school.
Yeah, because you were young.
And up to that point, I've only ever played just basketball. That was the sport. So I had the natural ability, plus whatever kind of runs in the family a little bit. So I was able to apply some of those natural athletic talents. And I remember Brian, we got at the tournament and we were warming up. And man, I remember watching these other guys jumping real high and then slamming the ball straight down. I was like, man, that's sick. I wish I could do that. And then Brian kind of walked me through an approach for a spike.
Yeah.
And it took me a couple tries, but once I think the thing for me was, jump straight up and down. Wherever you jump, and you spring up from, you should be landing that same spot. Otherwise, you'll be falling into the net or
Yeah.
rolling
Right.
your ankle or hurting someone. So once I did that adjustment and I was able to snap the ball down, I was like, oh snap, that was fun. I forgot it's a family-friendly radio station, but that's when that was the moment I knew I loved the sport and I fell in love, and the rest is history. It became my number one. The basketball was my number two after that.
Right.
Yeah, I can actually sit here and think back in my memories, and you two coaches, you two guys, I remember visuals of you guys outside your houses hitting the volleyball up on the roof.
Yeah.
And wait for it to come down, bump it up a couple times, spike it up there, and it always come down. And that was your reps. That was you guys both did that.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw both you guys doing that before.
Yep.
And like the only thing I could say is like, who really does that? Well, people that really love the sport do that.
Right.
Or have the passion.
Yeah, because like there with every other sport, there's certain things that you do when you're not on the field or on the court or something like that. That you're at home practicing your dribbling, practicing your throwing or something like that. But to do that, it could just tell that you guys actually fell in love with the sport, and that was huge.
By the way, we ended up winning first place in that tournament.
Yes,
I
we
remember,
did.
and it was a new tribal community, so I didn't recognize anyone there. I didn't know anybody there. You guys probably knew people, but I was like truly young and new, didn't really know what was happening around me. But I remember winning, and I remember like afterwards, like all like the kids were like really looking up to us, and they're like, wow. And then I remember one of them wanted like a picture with me, and I even like signed a little autograph. Here, shoot. I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I was like, our volleyball tournaments always like this. Like,
I know,
it feels
right?
nice to feel like a star.
They used to be back in the day. Yeah, you don't really see it that much anymore, especially in the tribal communities. They're going to host, all nations up in Black River coming up in the next couple of weeks. But that's really one of the only ones that remains.
Oh man, I gotta get in shape.
So what are the leagues right now in Sioux City? Like where is
The
everybody
main
playing
sand
at?
leagues
What's
are
going
done
on?
either at, like what you guys said, at Icky-Nickel, which is an establishment on North Highway 75, and then the other one is Jim's Bar, I believe, which is just down the hill from the Western Iowa Tech campus.
Oh yeah,
I think it's Stone Street. Yeah, because their court, the sand is nice, but the nets are
super
really, really high. Yeah.
Unless you're like 6'5", like it's gonna be.
It's hard to
difficult.
hit.
So
Yeah.
do you think they did that on purpose to deter you guys from spiking, or you think it's just the sand level went down?
No, I think from because the people that I know, they played there and they know the owners and stuff. They want to keep it that way in order to minimize somebody getting hurt, which is like, okay, it seems the opposite, but whatever. And then the other side of it is because they want to try to keep it challenging to the players. So I'm like, well, it definitely is that, because like what Willie said, you have to have a superior jumping ability or you have to be really tall.
And that's like one of the challenges in sand volleyball versus indoor court is the sand makes it difficult to jump.
Just
obviously,
jumping in general,
so if you have that plus a high net, like sometimes it's not as fun.
when me and Buff used to play, we used to get in that spiking position. We used to like try to push all the sand out of the way, try to get the closest to the ground as you could.
Yeah, that wouldn't help at gyms, but Icky-Nickel does pretty well. Their new owner pays quite a bit of attention. Not that the other one didn't, but they wanted their courts to be a lot better and stuff. So they redid the sand a little bit, obviously altered the nets and stuff like that, and they do a good job. So those are kind of the two main leagues that happen in the city. There's also other bars and other establishments around the local area which will do periodic tournaments, and you just kind of got to be on the lookout for those.
One of them is the Dons. They just started a couple summers ago. I don't know if they have a league anymore.
Not that I'm aware of, no. But they'll do tournaments.
Yeah, they're new to that scene, and their courts have a lot of, they have a long ways to go if they really want to have a league and get the serious players to come out.
So is that kind of what you guys are looking for when you're looking for a league? Like if a new establishment are open and man, they got some amazing sand and
quality.
the facility is good. Is
Court
that
quality.
kind of what you're looking for in your league that you want to get into? I mean, because I know everybody goes Icky-Nickel, right? That's kind of what it is right now.
Yeah, and plus they have a lot of multiple courts, and that's the big thing too, because I think they have 6, but 2 of them or 3 of them that are really kind of the usable ones. One of them is very much dirt and it's bad, but whatever.
Dangerous.
Yeah, from my perspective, what I actually look for is where the competition is. Because I know some people they go there, they're there to have fun and drink their beer and do whatever. But if there's no blood, there's no fun.
And
he wants that smoke, man.
Yeah, one thing I like about Icky-Nickel too is they're pretty good at separating the leagues by level.
Yeah.
Of
that's good.
skill.
So are you guys ranked players then? Like, is there a ranking system in the city?
Not a here. They
No.
do that a lot in Denver. I go to
Yeah.
some open gyms down
They
there.
also
and
have
they
it
have
in
it
Omaha.
very organized.
Mhm.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Mhm.
Omaha.
Yep.
Where I prefer that because then then you're guaranteed an X amount of games with the right the skill level that you're at too. So the games
Yeah.
can be
Correct.
competitive. It makes it funner.
Yeah, because a lot of players, especially the younger ones or the more inexperienced ones, if you will, they want to push, and I really appreciate that. But it's like a skill level thing. If you're not at the point of where the top players are, you're not going to be competitive. And then at the same time, from the more skilled players, it's kind of not fun if you're playing against somebody that can't even pass the serve. So
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my little experience this past summer, we went down there for an Abbey to Phoenix and whatnot, and my sister-in-law plays in a little like rec league and whatnot. But that's what she's always talking about is they're bringing down these C people. Like, why are they allowed to have all these C people on their team? You know what I mean? So I actually got to play last summer down there, and I had one nice save, and I fell on my back. Because like you were just talking about, right? You got to jump straight up and come back down. But I went to go save it, went flying backwards, and it was. I enjoyed my little drink after that. Just know that. So,
Earned it.
don't get me wrong, no hatred to the people that are out there just having a good time, because
Right.
that's what it's about. The
Yes.
backyard game is where it started.
It's all fun.
And like what we were talking about our early days, I remember quite well the long days of summer when it's not dark until 10 p.m. I remember being out to your Digga Daryl's house, because Darla, of course, was the player at the time, and you guys were little.
I was
'cause I remember
really little, I
you
remember that.
and Kenny, were real young kids, and we were playing, and the sun was down, and it was after 10, and we were still playing.
Yeah.
So
That's
I always remember those cockaboos
the
getting those
love is.
those stickers
Yeah.
stuck in my feet
Yeah.
at Digger Daryl's house.
yeah.
So I remember.
in
Do
the day.
you remember the first sand volleyball league that I played in? If you guys, I don't know if you remember, Will, but do you remember Four Seasons?
Yeah, in South Sioux.
Used to be there where Eric's equipment is or
Yeah.
something like that. Eric's
Eats.
cleaning.
Yeah.
Eats.
Yeah. It's a
Oh, Eats.
janitorial service
Yeah.
right there on the highway.
So they
Yep.
used to have their little gym in the inside, but
Right.
in the back, I think they had two courts. They had two courts.
Two on one side and then a third one on they started
Oh, yeah.
number on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
So there were three.
That's where I first started playing sand
Yeah.
volleyball, and I remember all I wanted to do was just hit the ball. I didn't even want to. I mean, I serve it too, but I didn't want to set it. I didn't want to bump it. I just wanted to hit the ball,
Right.
And then, I mean, of course, that's a hitter, but after you learn how to play the rest of the game, then it seems pretty easy and fun, really
Yeah.
to get into it and stuff like that. And then went from there, and I believe. Do you remember? Oh man, I think it was called South Ridge or something like that. Where
Lewis Bowl?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is where El Ranchitos is right now.
Okay, yeah.
There used to be a little
That
bar.
was called the Plaza.
The Plaza.
Yeah.
The Plaza.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Plaza. They used to have sand volleyball back there.
Right.
We used to go play back there too
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep.
And those are some real old spots that we used to
Yeah.
play at the very beginning and stuff. But
You
I know
history lesson here.
yeah,
I know. I'm
little
just
history
listening
I
to
don't
you. I'm
recognize
right
it.
there
but
with
it
you, like,
actually is good, because we're just having a history lesson on old basketball courts in Sioux City, and they brought up some old ones that aren't even around anymore,
Oh, I'm sure.
But
yeah.
we used to talk about all the players that we used to play against up there. I'm talking like old school players, from when back in the '90s, college players, and that's the same thing with volleyball. You just think back to all those old places, who you played against and stuff like that. Brought up Gary's name, and there's a lot of people that don't play anymore that used to play competitively back then. I remember we used to get in rec league, and we used to have fun in rec league, and then after it started getting too boring,
Yeah,
kind of
have
get
to
the
step
serves
up.
over,
Yeah.
score be 15-2, 15-1.
Yeah.
So when we start saying, well, hey, let's start competing and playing the upper leagues,
Right.
that's when it started getting fun.
Yes.
That's when it started getting fun. So
speaking of the history lesson, how long ago was that little sand volleyball court built across the highway there from Boys and Girls Club? And when did it actually officially kind of go away?
Well, it was never even actually used officially, because we were going to hold a tournament there right after it was built. And then I can't remember, something happened. Maybe it was a storm, or for some reason it did not happen. And then when they were trying to reschedule it, then they found that kids threw glass in it.
yeah,
So-
And so it just sat?
Yep.
it did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it did. For the longest time. Because then there was also another pair of courts in the park that used to be where the hospital sits. That was long.
Remember that?
I think I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Wilbur
Wilbur
Decor
Decor
Park.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing it back. Do you remember that, Bethany?
Oh man, hey, we're going way back right now. Guys.
Yeah,
We're going way back.
Well, just to for all you sand volleyball players, just a quick tidbit. There was at one point a plan. We were going to turn our out at Land of Wellness. We were going to turn our volleyball court into hitting nets. We were going to take away 4 of the horseshoe pits and make a new sand volleyball pit. That was the plan. That was the plan. But I guess now there's like a big 5-year plan. They don't want me to do it, so I'm going to get a petition going. No.
I'll sign it.
Yeah, and like you said, because I think there's because even Pilar's kind of backing that as well, because she just realizes that there's enough sand volleyball players in the community where we really need our own. But from my understanding, that's why you guys noticed I kept asking you guys about the quality of sand and what it is, because I learned a lot when I went down there to Phoenix and I started talking to that owner, and they literally like change out their sand every year.
Yeah,
because it's so much.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot. I don't know if you guys remember that in the Beijing Olympics, China, of course, wanted to outdo everything in the world. So, you know, it sounds really, really strange, but in the sand volleyball, because that was also one of quite literally the highest rated part of the Olympics for NBC. Everybody watches the sand volleyball. Truly, it is. So Kerry Walsh and all the premier players and stuff like that. One of the stories, though, that what I was getting to is what China did is they actually brought in the sand and they literally washed it, which sounds strange, but they did, because then I remember watching an interview where Kerry and Phil Dalhouser and all, you know, the premier American players, they were like, I've never played in sand like this before. It's almost like it's not sand, but it was clean. And that's, you know, exactly what you're talking about. The quality of the sand matters, because like some place you go, it's almost granular and your feet pay the price. And you'll see that in places as well, especially like smaller bars. It's like, oh, just throw some sand. It's like, no, it's not all the same. Like playground sand. That's like, no. It's like,
well, see, and I think that's going to be one of the issues. I think probably all these little spots have, though, is that we get all 4 seasons here.
Right.
You know, like down there in Phoenix, you know, they're living around hot all year. You know, it gets cold or whatever. But now we got to deal with rain. We got to deal with the snow and this and that. I mean, it's nice to have the pit, but it's almost like I would probably come to you guys and lean and ask you, what's the plan, right? Like, do we need to cover it? Do we need to, when does it need to be replaced? And then what's the price tag behind all that kind of stuff?
Well, the big thing, of course, is getting the quality of sand, you know, that would be usable for that. And then also, prior to every event or league night or whatever it is, it does have to be graded in a similar way to how you do like a garden or even like a tiller, because then what that does is bring the sand that's being packed down back up and tries to keep it separated from the dirt that's underneath.
Well, so I guess similar to how we would drag the fields, right?
Exactly.
Drag the fields, flattens them out, makes it look really nice. And
same principle.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in my opinion, I think Iquinickel, out of all the places locally around here, Iquinickel probably has the best sand.
Because they do that.
And but the worst sand, you know, I play in a lot of different leagues and tournaments, especially throughout, well, really, it's year-round, sand and indoor. But Old Settlers tournament always has the worst sand.
Yeah.
That's always the
granular.
Worst. It's like rocky. It's like playing in pebbles, and it's dry, and then it's hot.
Where's that at? Where's that one at?
Rosalie. Old Settlers.
Come on, Garen.
Come
on, Garen.
Come on.
I'm glad they do it and stuff like that too. But the other part of that, Willie, you got to say is that there's only one court.
There is only one
court. If you're trying to run a tournament, you only have one court.
Okay, so Winnebago Saints wants to host sand volleyball tournaments. Would I mean, are we talking? You want shade? Does it matter if it's just wide out in the open?
If you're building courts, they need to be north-south.
Yeah.
Because right now the court that's out there is east-west. So when the sun's going down, there's going to be good side, bad side.
All right, you guys, that was 10 years ago. Who made that decision? We didn't know right now.
We know who wasn't involved in the decision.
Yeah, exactly. We know who wasn't asked.
Yeah, who didn't ask the right people here? Trav, and he need you to call in right now.
They did a good job. Yeah. Because the other side of that too, and I mean, I really got to say this because, you know, in the professional world, they, especially like when you're on the actual beach tournaments, so Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, you know, out in California and stuff, they deal with that, and that becomes part of the game. They call it good side, bad side. And that's also why they rotate when the score has a factor of 5. So if the score is 12 to 13, you know, then they switch sides. And that's the reason why, because it evens out the good side, bad
Makes
side.
sense.
As much as it can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got a did you know, and then I think we're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Wait, to finish off what I wanted about the tournament, how many courts would we need?
Minimum of 2.
Just minimum of 2?
Yeah. The more the better, but the minimum of 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because if I get 3, who's taking care of it? You know what I mean? That's going to be the biggest thing. Is like, who's going to learn how to do that to sand?
The best thing about having more than 2, like especially with 3 or whatever, is one of them becomes a warm up and practice court while the rest is going on. Because then you're able to get right on the games when the tournament is. You don't have to have a 10-minute waiting period and stuff. It's like get out there and get warmed up. So as soon as that last point drops, next team.
Well, we need to set up a meeting. So
that sounds like a good meeting to have too.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to. Did you know? Do you remember when we were in high school, played basketball against Wisner Pilger? Remember they had this big, giant, tall guy, Mike Cloth, is what his name was.
Okay.
That's
an old memory.
He has a daughter named Taryn Cloth.
Right.
That played at LSU.
Okay.
And she graduated out, and I think she was All-American. She now travels the coast down here and plays in the AVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And she plays.
Dude, I never even connected those dots. Wow.
She plays the 2-on-2 sand volleyball league.
Of course, yeah.
And they win all the time.
Yeah, she's one of the better players.
So so that's Mike Close's daughter. Wow. And she's like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, so since we're on the volleyball topic, I was showing Q a little bit ago. Congratulations to our 5th grade Whirling Thunder basketball team.
Nice.
Won the arena our volleyball league this year.
Good job, girls.
So thank you to Kumi, Mascot, Jordan Blackfish, and all the girls, all the parents getting them to practice, showing up to games on time. Nice. They went and took it down.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Congrats.
actually had the girls on last week talking about the volleyball.
Well, now we got to bring Kumi and Jordan. They're the winners.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about the younger girls, and so we definitely got to get them on and talk about their experience that they had for this off season.
Yeah, always remember, younger players, it's about serve and pass. Get your serve over the net and pass the ball to the location.
And it goes just to what Jeff was saying earlier about starting young.
Yep.
Those earlier grades, the more experience and touching of the volleyball that you can get, if it's by yourself or with a parent or a friend or something, it just the better that you'll get. Your hands become familiar, they get their mold, and just work on all the skills that you possibly can.
Because even talking with Brian here, that's preaching to the choir, but you've heard us say that even during the beginning of these shows and whatnot. But it's moving on to that next step of trying to play year round.
Right.
With volleyball and getting into the AAU stuff, jumping on the United, the arena teams, and getting through the coaching and attending those kind of camps that are real skill oriented. Right. I never like to hear volleyball camp, because then you don't know what kind of stuff you're going to get. Oh yeah, she's pulling up the picture now of the kids that won. But getting more into those skill oriented camps where it's strictly passing or it's strictly serving or you're going to work on jump serving or however. I feel like that would be way more beneficial than just
in the club world, that's actually what happens now. So if you see a club-sponsored clinic or exact camp or whatever, that's exactly what it is. And because as a former MVP coach, what we did, of course, was we had the teams that we coached and stuff like that, but we also participated in these camps and in these clinics and whatever else. And we did all ages. They called them the Little Stars, and that was everyone from 3 to 5 or 7 years old. The truly early beginners, getting them used to just moving their body in a certain way. Yep. And then they would try to, one of the best things would keep a balloon in the air, a simple balloon in the air and stuff like that. And they really liked it. And of course, it's really about teaching them to have fun with it, because I've seen, I hate it when I see coaches yelling at their kids. It's like, your kids don't go there to get yelled at. It's like you got to coach them and you got to be the leader for them, but it's like it's got to be a positive experience, but not to get too far off. But MVP right now, they're also in the process of actually having their postseason camps, and one I know they're having, her name is Mary Miller. She was the former coach for Briarcliff, the coach with Dakota Valley and so many other teams in the local area. I think she even did Wayne State. That woman is an excellent coach. So go to mvp.com or .org and find that. If your girl is interested in learning how to play Mary Miller, I'd play for her. Let me say it that way. Mary Miller is awesome.
We could have a whole show about volleyball, honestly.
Right.
We could sit here and talk all day.
Yes, we could.
So are we going to see any Coach Brian or Coach Willie stuff coming up in the near future? The reason why I'm asking is because I have a 3rd grade girls team. Next year there'll be 3rd grade girls team that needs a coach. Because we had about 3 parents this year working with the girls, and not all of them was consistent. But we need some new coaches for this new blood coming up.
Well, how about this? You know, I know these guys are busy. They live big, full lives, you know, everything. What if, and this is something that we're working on through all our sports, but it's having you guys step in with all the experience, all the knowledge behind it in coaching camp, you know, where we actually go through and talk about different types of fundamentals, maybe give them little drills they can run with their kids, kind of get down to that basics of what, and Willie probably maybe thought of this at one time, but what do we want Winnebago volleyball to look like? What kind of game should Winnebago volleyball look like? Because the turnover at coaching here at the Winnebago Public School, you know, it's consistent, and we know that.
It needs to be like a comprehensive plan that starts from a very young age, goes, and there's connections between like whirling thunder, that age group, and then as they transition to junior high, that coach needs to be on board with the entire program. And then moving forward to high school, and then hopefully one day at Little Priest we have a volleyball team there. And so that whole program, they need to be able to see themselves in the future and wanting to get better and be able to play at whatever that next level is going to be, depending on where they're at.
The reason I bring that up is it's something that's happening for basketball right now, and it's something that we just talked about with like Naomi making it being a college athlete out of it. You know, when are we going to see a volleyball college athlete coming out of Winnebago? But I really feel like it needs to start back here, right? Third grade K2 stuff, and get that real big good foundation.
Eugene, the thing that I would push out there with that in order to start even having that, not just having that conversation, but creating that awareness, is parents, take your kids to a college level game. Not necessarily high school, because sometimes you're not going to get what you want to see, but take them to a college game. Watch how that game moves, especially a men's game, because the thing I really want to put out there, don't forget to teach your boys how to play. Just because, you know, basketball gets a lot of heavy, you know, attention and a priority in that, the fundamentals that volleyball will teach you will make you a better basketball player. Trust and believe. I can list so many actual NCAA college basketball men who also played volleyball on their college's teams.
Stephen Curry is one of them.
Yeah, Steph Curry, and then also the Stanford. So many of these athletes that had where there's a men's team at their college, because it teaches you to move your body. And so with that, and then going back to the first point I made, take your kid to a college game. Morningside, Briarcliff, drive down to Midland, one of the colleges in Omaha, St. Mary's. Rick Pruitt, who is the MVP head, he coaches St. Mary's, and you're going to see how that moves, and allow your kid to absorb it and see if it's hitting with them, because while they're not going to, of course, be able to play at that level, it's going to ignite that fire. That's how this should look.
Well, because I mean, there's that part, but also Arena's now offering high school boys.
Right. You know, glad to see that finally.
And at one point, and I'm not even lying to you boys, right before COVID hit, I had a group of 8th and 9th graders together, and we were going to play. And I kid you not, it was Rob down at the center, right? Yeah. He even got to coach them the 1 week they had league before they shut it down, right? So at one point, no, I'm not even kidding you. At one point here in Winnebago, we did have a boys high school volleyball team.
Good.
You know what I mean? It did live for one game.
I'll bring it back.
Yeah, and then
everywhere.
Yeah,
really.
and like I said, you know me, I support all sports, and I want to see everybody succeed, and no matter what they're gonna do. Yep. But I mean, when it comes around, I try to pull it together. Just know that, you know what I mean? We try, you know, and I really think that. Because there was a group of boys that are all juniors, long, lanky guys that look like amazing volleyball players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were all tall, long arms. Yep. You know, those junior boys, Meech and man, he's the only one I can think of top of my head, but
Jared
Cassius,
Jared, Legend, I remember.
Yep, all those boys. They're all like sophomores now and stuff.
Those were all my students when they were all in 3rd grade, and they were like, Mr. Bass, why isn't there a volleyball team for boys? I don't know. Maybe you guys should start one. But they were interested.
I can get you guys going, so I'll be quiet.
And for real, we could talk all day, all week long on this, but
All right. Well, I want to say thank you to coaches for stopping in and sharing your knowledge, not only with our listeners but with us as well. I want to say thank you to Jeff and Dami for stopping in earlier and giving it the whole spiel on Dami's future endeavors. And then I also want to say thanks to Coach Eug for being right here with me with this interview. Also, thanks to Bethany, DJ Besame, for being on the 1s and 2s and controlling this interview here. We are 100.9 on your FM dial, KWTN, the Big Voice, and this is the Big Voice Sports Talk Show. Happy birthday, Pops. We're on our way out for the cookout.
Happy birthday, Dad.
right, guys, good one.